How's it going, everybody? It's Matt again. Today we're going to talk about another masterpiece third-party transformer. This time we're back with Dx9. This is Dx9 D15 Kukinski. Of course, they're continuing their line of gangster stunticons. So this is Deadend. This is the third one. So taking a look at the box, obviously we have more quotes and more beach scene stuff going on, like the gangster stuff. Around the back, got that nice blueprint thing got going on. Nothing much else to talk about that. He is, of course, going to come with a set of instructions. They're decent. DX9's instructions, I think, are actually pretty good, all said and done. And of course, he's going to come with another one of these cards. I don't care about cards. I don't know anyone that cares about cards. Whatever. But here he is. Nice car mode. He comes packaged in car mode too, just like the other ones, which I like. I love it when Transformers come packaged in vehicle mode. But he's pretty nice. The whole thing is like painted on, at least the car shell anyways. It looks pretty darn slick. Once again, the windows here are not black. They are actually clear plastic, but they are so dark that you really can't even tell. But they are clear plastic. All of this is. I think, nope, that's clear plastic too. Yeah, this is all clear. Or opaque. The wheels roll really well. It is rubber wheels, which is great. There's the underside, so it cleans up really nice. And yeah, pretty good looking car. The doors do open, just like the other ones, for some reason. Hold on, let me get my spudger. They do open. So you can open the doors, but once again, there is nothing to show in there. So why they open, who knows? But they do open. But of course, you're just going to get him, and you're going to get just his gun here. So it's like gunmetal type swirly plastic, which is weird. Like there's swirls in it. So I don't know. I don't really care for it when metallic plastic has swirls in it. It doesn't look right to me. It looks kind of toyish. But the handle here can just drop down, and it is a bit tight on my copy, but that just pops down, then he can hold it just fine. But he can also, using that peg, mount it in either one of these two holes, so you can put his gun on the car if you want to. That's it. That's all it comes with. So let's just jump straight into transformation. So to start transforming him anyways, these panels right here are going to need to be lifted off of this white part. So you're just going to kind of go boom like that and lift it up. And then we're going to take this panel and fold it up underneath like that. Same thing here. Lift it up, fold this panel in like so. And then we're going to take his entire front half and split it and then fold these out. And then what we're going to do is take the hood panel here and just lift it up off of that peg. And then this panel is going to come up off of that peg and then rotate around on that ball joint and just kind of sit over there for now. Same thing here, lift up, pull that off there, rotate it around, just kind of sit it around that way. And then we're going to, at these two joints, flip this entire section out all the way like that on both sides. And then these panels, so we'll go ahead and pull the wrist out. So pull the wrist out, and then you're going to rotate these around until this slot here lines up with there. So you actually want the hood to go over this piece. So you're going to rotate it around like this, and then that peg will rest inside the forearm like that. And then the hood piece will just rest up against it, and then it will fold around, and then this little slot right there for that little peg. Right like that. And then just line that up, position the shoulder around, and there is an arm. So over here again, flip the wrist out, flip that around, line up that peg, put that, and put that. Rotate, rotate, like so. Then these panels, you actually want to close them back up. So now with that panel folded in, you have access to the shoulder joint. So just push that back in like that. And now we are going to, it almost requires a tool. So this section right here, I keep bumping the camera. This section right here, we need to separate it from this panel, but it's only going to fold out so far. So it's more of just kind of popping it out of place like that. That's it, because you can't fold it any farther than that. You want to do that on both sides. So now with those panels released, you can push up and kind of pull out, and this entire section will come free like this. And then this whole panel will fold out and push up, kind of like pushing with your fingers on the inside here. Push up and then push these panels back, locking that in, which is pretty cool. So now the legs, you just want to split them, and this can be kind of a pain in the butt, but what we want to do is kind of fold out one of these panels just far enough that we can get this section to rotate out. So it'll fold up on this joint here, and then kind of push that panel back in so you can fold past it like this. And then once you can get that section past there, you can push on it like that to get it out of the way, and then it will allow you to kind of turn and push down on this section to get the thigh out. It's a little scary doing it, but you can push past everything. It's a little bendy, and I don't like that, but that is what is required. Go ahead and pull the panel out all the way, just fully unfold it, and this will come loose. This little slot, or this little peg right here that was pegging into here, you just want to push this down so it will rest up against this part. And then you just want to rotate this whole section up like this, and then just bring it down like so, kind of locking it in down here. And now you're going to take the toe piece and just kind of push it up out of the way. This part here, you want to lift up that end and this end, and then just take this whole assembly right here and rotate it around on that little screw there. It'll rotate around like this. And then this whole section, this part right here, you want this to fold down like this, and then you're going to have this whole thing fold around past that panel and then peg in here and here. And then this panel will just come down and cover that spot. This panel will come down, cover that spot, and this panel will now peg in right here. So now everything is nicely locked in together, and then you just rotate it at the thigh. And that's one leg. Kind of a pain, but I've definitely seen worse. So lifting that panel off, lifting this whole section off so that we can push that section out of the way. And now we can flip this whole leg out. And now this side doesn't actually have that little thing to move in, so you can just freely rotate it from here. So rotate it around, line that up. I'm gonna bring this, open up these spots, rotate that around, put the toe up, and then just push everything past each other, peg it in, peg that in. And this panel comes back out, pegs in, put that down, line up the toe, rotate the thigh, and just kind of collapse everything down. And there are his legs. Now we're just going to rotate the waist all the way around. And then back here is another interesting little mechanism. You don't want to open these panels that we closed, but you want to open the doors. So open the doors out. And this can be kind of scary because you have to put a lot of pressure on this clear plastic. Let me angle this up more. But when you push this down, this little bar here is going to push up, and it's going to force the head up. So just push it down until you feel it pop a little bit, and then you can reach in here and pull his head up. And it's always really tight on mine. There we go. But you pull it up and it'll become flush with this white panel. And then you can just kind of raise this back up. You want to fold these window panels in, push the doors closed, push everything together, and then just kind of collapse everything. And there is Deadend. Goes back down. And there he is. I think it looks pretty good. You know, his deco looks pretty good. Transformation isn't too bad. But he's a little thin though. It's probably my only major complaint is he's got nothing. He's flat chest. Yeah, you got nothing going on. His face also does look a little derpy to me, in my honest opinion. Like his goggles are too high. Like he almost, instead of looking like he has a faceplate, he kind of looks like he's wearing like a face mask, which kind of looks dopey to me. I kind of wish that the goggles were a little farther down. Maybe give him a little bit more of a forehead. So it's okay. Not the best, not the worst. But the paint is really nice all around. He's really nicely painted. He can, of course, hold his gun just fine. Of course, if I can actually get the handle to come out. The only thing, though, is there's only, like, the peg is only on the one side, so you can't put it in either hand. You can only hold it in this hand. I mean, I guess you could put it in here, but it won't have support. But the hands will just open up, and then it will peg in very securely into the right hand. So that's not going anywhere. But he also has some pretty tiny hands compared to the other characters that we've gotten so far. His hands are a little tiny, especially like proportionally, very small. But let's quickly go over articulation. So up here at the head, there is a ball joint. Is that a ball joint? I can't tell if it's a ball joint. It might be a hinge up here. So you can look up about that far, not down at all, nothing side to side. And then there's a separate joint here in the base of the neck, which allows you to rotate. But because of the kibble back here, you can only rotate about that far. So, the shoulders, there's a joint here, and of course a joint here, so you can raise it up all the way. So no problems there. Of course, you can rotate all the way around. There is a rotational joint above the bicep, so you can rotate them around. Double jointed elbow for almost 180 degrees, which is great. The hands, they can rotate at the wrist. They can also hinge in and out at the wrist ever so slightly, even though that likes to come undone. And then the hands are similar to the other two that we've gotten so far. So the thumb is just on a little pin, and then his claw fingers are on another pin here with the trigger finger separate. So down here to the waist, we have a extreme ab crunch, like breaks in half and shows how hollow he is. You can rotate it, of course. They actually did the skirts right this time, so these skirts are separate, so now you can lift one skirt up and leave the other one down, which is really nice. The legs can go about that far forwards, about that far back, and all the way out. They can rotate above the thigh, which is nice, and we have just a single jointed knee, but, oh no, it is actually limited there. I guess technically it is a secondary knee joint, but you're only really getting 90 degrees out of it anyways, so, oh well. There is no ankles per se, it's only toe, which is kind of a bummer. So there's a joint here in the front of the foot, which allows you to kind of move the toe around, and then there's a ball joint actually in the toe, but it's to the side, so it gives you a toe tilt. There's no foot, which kind of sucks, but he stands well enough. But Yeah, definitely a little weaker on articulation on this guy, but it does the job. But let me clean him up a little bit and we'll do a size comparison. Alright, so first off, here we have a Takara MP car. Here is Smokescreen. And then here is MP Red Alert. So he's significantly larger than Carbots. Do what you will with that information. Here we have Fans Toys Soundwave, who doesn't want to stand for some reason. And here we have Deformation Space Starscream. And here is Masterpiece Megatron. And Magic Square 2.0 Optimus. And here is Magic Square's Brawl and Magic Square's Swindle. And last but not least, of course, here he is with Dx9 Breakdown and Dx9 Motormaster. So that's what I have of the team that I've shown so far. So yeah, I think they look pretty good together. Alright, so that's going to do it for Dx9, what is he, D15, Kukinski, their Deadend. He's okay. I wouldn't say that he's the weakest one so far, but he's definitely the weirdest so far. He just has so many odd proportion issues. The face sculpt just isn't very good. The big hollow section back here bothers me. The fact that he's got like nothing going on the front, he just kind of looks like a cardboard box. I mean, I understand that he's tuned and all, but I mean, come on, gotta give a little something. He's just a little too thin, in my opinion. Even if he had a backpack, I feel like that would help. But because he has no backpack, he just ends up looking like a twig. But he's fine. His leg transformation is a little weird. I don't like how you gotta kind of push past plastic sometimes, which is a little scary. And I would definitely be concerned about breaking that windshield part when you're pushing the head up. But I mean, it's those are just little nitpicks. The feet, though, I mean, they work okay. You see that he's standing just fine on them, but they just, from different angles, they just don't look great. It just looks like he's standing on like an overturned cardboard box with a toe attached to it. He's just, I don't know, he's just very thin, lanky, and hollow, which makes it just not feel all that great. But the transformation is all right. I mean, he's an interesting dude, like an interesting figure. But I definitely don't know. Like, feel wise, he feels better than Breakdown for sure. But look wise, I don't know. I think Breakdown looks better. So we'll see. But that's all I have to say about him. Thank you so much for watching the video. Of course, if you made it this far, you know, leave a like, please, comment, subscribe to the channel if you like my content. Feel free to go back and look at any of my other reviews. Obviously, this is the third one that I've taken a look at from this Dx9 Stunticon series. So feel free to go back and take a look at those videos or any of my other stuff. They should be in a playlist. But of course, thank you so much to my patrons over on Patreon. That is more for like my Armored Core stuff and my 3D models. But if you like that stuff too, or you just feel like supporting me, please go check it out. The links for all of that is in my description. So that's just another way you can support me. But thank you for watching this far in the video, and I will see you in the next one.